This is Dr. Pushpendra Verma, in charge medical, and I am going to take the certainly very important session for the zoology today. Dear student, if we do start about the zoology, I need to start with the term biology very first. I hope you everybody is familiar with the way because it is a mother branch, and in this particular branch we are having the two basic branches in name of the botany and the zoology, right, beta? So if you do focus and start with the term, the mother term that is a biology, let me remind it because since you people are moving for the 11th standard, you are going to opt the subject the biology with that dream to wear that white apron. Let me remind it. Everyone who had been ever entered to the field of the biology are always facing certain problem that in terms of that the biological words also called the scientific word, they are basically originated from the particular language. There are the Greek, Latin, and sometimes the Sanskrit as well. And since you know these are the particular languages which we usually on and often don't use in often, so if you want to get a better meaning of this all, the way of the technique that I delivered that I had been developed just 18 year down, I'm going to share you all so you can better understand what are the terms, the way we should discuss the biology, right? That technique that I certainly call is a WMS. That simply means the word master surgery. What does mean it? I just tell you. And I just give you the sample how exactly we need to use this particular technique. Surgery, right? Beta, as you can see, the biology, which are with the both the branches that the botany and zoology is full with the so many terms that are coming from the Greek and Latin and Sanskrit. So the first question that is strike in the mind, why we are taking the words from the Greek, Latin and Sanskrit, not from the English only? I just tell you. Since the particular language what we use on a daily basis, there are always a great possibility that the word will get a certain changes. Like I just put an example. Certainly we usually call to the new person that give your introduction, but more often nowadays we call give your intro. We on and often use the term maximum, but nowadays we are also using the term max. So you can see so many words in the English, since we are using on a daily basis, we are getting some certain point of the manipulation done. But once we speak about a Greek, Latin, and Sanskrit, since these are the dead languages, so called, not on and often we are using it. So there is a less possibility to get changes, and the best part that comes out that will be no change with respect to time. So the best thing that comes in the part of the science that if you are studying at any part of the nation and even to the globe, you will not find any manipulation and all the words will remain the same. So as you know the basic that the botany is related with the study of plant and zoology is all in relation with the study of the animal. But before to go that, I would like to use this technique for you for so many terms so you can better understand how to study the biology once you are pursuing especially for the NEET examination. Like the student, by reason I'm just putting this all. Once you study this subject on the basis of just with the focus of scoring in a school examination and eventually to the board examination, that comes on not that much scale being required. But if you want to get a better study to crack the NEET examination, KVPY examination, Olympiad examination, then you need to change your strategy. Because I always insist to say that failing to plan is planning to fail. So you had to go with a proper planning to just study properly the subject, right? I just start from the very basic. Beta, if we use the term this biology, just do remind this is not a root word, this is a derived word. Derived word are those which are finding two root word and being added on, right? So here bio that actually means the bios and logy that actually means the logos. So we have done the word master surgery over this word, and here the bios simply means the life or living, and logos that simply means the to study. So if you want to study about the life or living forms, that certainly comes with the way that is the biology. The term biology, which was actually given by the two scientists, and that was a coincidence. You might have heard and studied about the name of the scientist in the class 10th standard by making the study about the chapter heredity and evolution. So the scientist was the Lamarck, and one more scientist that was a coincidence by the time who gave the same word, that is the biology. I'm writing here another name, that is Trevernius, right, beta? And if you want to focus with the one more informative point, that is who is the father of biology. So I hope everyone is familiar with the word. the name of the scientist, the great ever, that is Aristotle, right? His time period was 384 to 322 BC. Many students might be wondering why sir has written 384 earlier and then 322, because on and often we always write an academic session as like 2020 21. But beta, please mind it, I am using before Christ, right? So reason I have used it 384 to the earlier estate and 322 then the later state. Is that okay? Now we are going to discuss the same particular technique, that's a word master surgery, for all across the few term, including the botany and the zoology. Let's see over here. If we talk about the term botany, just to get familiar with the one of the branch under the biology. So here is again a kind of the derived word where letter Y indicates for the logos, that simply means to study. Okay, beta. And here we come out with the prefix, that is BOTANE. But now you'll be wondering why sir has written E, because in the entire particular word botany or so-called botany, the people are not having just vision of the E. But what actually happens when we derive any new word, which are the collection of the two root word, so on and often when the last letter either A or E, that get eliminated out, right? So actually to create the botany or so-called botany, we were having the two words, that is a botane and the logos. What does this botane means? That actually means the plant only. But if I go further, that botane is the root word from the word that is a boscine, and that simply means grazing. I know you might be thinking why we are going in such depth. This is the point being required. Whenever we want to study biology at a greater level, we always need to go with the depth only. Boscine is again finding a further root word that is called bos, and beta, that simply means the animal. Now you can wonderfully understand one important point. The word botany is involving its own definition in the word itself. How so? Animal graze over plant, and the study of plant is known as the botany, right? So this is the way of this technique that gives a more clarification what we expected to, right? Okay, now I am just giving it another name for the botany, that is nothing but the phytology, that many people are not aware about it. Logi, that you understood now, that is the two study, and phyto, that simply means the plant. So the study of plant is, as you know already, that is a botany, but here I give you the more clarification why the reason is. Now you might be thinking again, why we are expected to get into this much depth. Even I just make the correlation that in the 9th standard only, you have been studied with the one word that is a binomial nomenclature. Is it? Nomenclature. So if I would ask you, can you tell me the scientific name of the cow? Now you might be thinking, but if anybody out of you people who could recall, the name of the particular Indian species is nothing but the Bos indicus. So you can get the detail. Here is the same word, what I was speaking by the time when we were making the depth of the term botany, that the root word was a Bos, that simply means the animal. And in Indian continent, we are quite sentimental with this particular animal, that is very much aware about, not by you only, that also by the ICZN, that is International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. This question being asked to in many more examinations, right? Eventually, by making the study of this way, that is using of the word master surgery technique that I just shared with you all, I can give you the more clarification that you will never be in a state to that you need to go for the rote learning for the binomial nomenclature. I just put one more example. Like if I ask you, what is the scientific name of the soya bean? Now, many people would be saying that I'm not just recollecting, but actually it's not a matter of recollecting. It is a matter of retention by the time once we are thoroughly and properly studying by the time. Dear student, as you know, if we talk about a soya bean, which is finding the huge amount of protein within. And as a biology student, even at the junior standard only, everyone is aware about that proteins are formed through amino acids. Is that? If I would ask you, which is the amino acid, which is the most simplest one? I hope many of you who had prepared ever even for the NTSC examination, the name of the amino acid is the glycine might have heard by you. You will be wondering in the soya bean, this glycine named amino acid is actually in a huge amount. So I can call it the maximum amount. And you can certainly see now the scientific name that comes by, that is nothing but a glycine max. So the one who is trying to make the rote learning that soybean is scientific name is having the glycine max and 5 to 7 time and 10 time, the he or she is trying to make the by heart. But if you go properly, you can simply understand that the soybean is formed through protein. It is having the huge amount of the protein which is finding amino acid, and after making the chemical analysis of the soybean, we can see that it is finding the glycine named amino acid in the huge amount. So simply we named as per the IUPAC name is concerned, that is I would say the scientific name is concerned, that is the glycine max. Along with the same, I would like to mention that these names, especially in the category of the botany, comes by ICBN. Like just a moment back we discussed, that is ICZN, international code of zoological nomenclature, and here is the international code for botanical nomenclature. I hope the words are clear, and these two questions being earlier asked in the NEET examination too. Here we go further. Now for today's session, especially of the zoology, now we are going in a much detail. Now you can see the term zoo is there and logy is there. Logy is, now you are familiar with the word, that is to study. Now many people can correct the moment, sir, you simply mean the study of the zoo is called zoology. No, no, no. We are going in a much detailed depth. Zoo word that actually comes with the zoon or zoon, right? And that simply means an animal. And I'm not going to further bisect the word where we are getting the term of the plant, as what we have seen just a moment back in the only, that in the botany there was the root word was the bos, and many people was wondering how the animal is coming in the word botany, right? Because this question was asked in the KCT examination, Karnataka Common Interest Test 2, right? Now we go further. If you see here, it is very simple as ever. Study of animal as simply called the zoology. Dear student, if we focus this particular branch, that is the zoology, and someone is asking you who is the father of zoology, and you will again come out with the answer is none but the same fellow what we discussed earlier. Who was? That is Aristotle, for the sake of regard to the father of biology. But at the same time, you might ask, sir, who being considered as the father of botany? So here for your information, I'm just making it father of botany. Okay. He is none but Theophrastus. I hope the word is very clear to everyone and the word is visible too. Right? Okay, beta. Now we move further. What we actually want to study in the zoology in the today's session. So now I'm taking in that detail. Like if you start with the very first line, very first line of the class 11 NCERT, the first chapter is the living world. And when we talk about the living world, absolutely the living world could comprise the plant, animal, and all that. So what I'll try to, we shall start with the first line of the NCERT of the chapter 1, and that we will make the correlation with the chapter 4. What the chapter 4 is? That is animal kingdom. And that is the first chapter in regard to the zoology, especially we speak about. I here again write the same. The chapter 1 is what? The living world. Right, beta? Chapter 2, if we talk about, that will come and bridge between two. That is a biological classification. Chapter 3 is all about the kingdom plantae, or so-called plant kingdom. But here in today's session, our purpose to make a correlation from first chapter to the last chapter of the first unit, because the first unit that called, that is diversity of living world. Right, beta? Okay. If I would like to mention, what do you mean by the diversity, and especially of the living world? Diversity, that means the different kind of the animals and the plants are existing over the earth crust and even to the beyond. So if I would like to mention just a one word for the same, living world, that simply means in relation with the bios that we understood just a moment back only in the first slide. But if you just go with this one, I can simply come out with the word that is biodiversity. Right, beta? So firstly, I would like to tell you how this biodiversity comes by, right? What are the cause behind? Here we are using and discussing about cause of biodiversity, right? So we can better understand why the different kinds of the plants, animals, and the microbes are existing over the earth crust and even to the other planet if it is possible, because scientists are expecting at least in the 1% planet of the entire universe there should be life, and that nearly they assume it for the 50,000 nearly, but till date we are not having such report that any other planet is actually having all the proofs, right? But still the research is going on. So here I want to very first mention about the cause of biodiversity. How it happens? Dear student, just assume this is the sun, right? Which is giving the, of course, the radiation and the ultimate source of the energy for the planet Earth. You know, we are having the elliptical pathway where suppose this is the Earth I am taking for an example. Don't say the sun is smaller and the Earth is bigger. It's just a purpose of your visualization, and at the same time, because we need to focus to the Earth, I had created this one, the big one, right? Now, as you know, the solar radiation will comes by, and at the same time, since the Earth is also rotating at its own axis, and many people those are not aware that sun is also moving at its own axis. Please mind it, this is a very important point, right? Now what happens? As you know, this Earth is also moving in this particular fixed orbital too. So when the solar radiations are incident at a one part of Earth, this will become a lighter area, and this one will become the darker one. But since the Earth will be moving, so of course this part will be furtherly from darken to the light, and this part will be lighter to the dark area. So this is the way the distribution amount of the energy. And when the amount of energy will be distributed in the different way, that will certainly cause the biodiversity. I hope everybody understood now why the biodiversity comes by the time. Now the next point that comes in the moment, why we need to study about it. The study of the biodiversity firstly give the information about the evolution, right? Who comes first, who came later in the evolution sequence. Second point, we can furtherly identify the resources. Like I take an example. You can domesticate the dog, but you'll be worried to domesticate the lion. How so? Because you have gone through with the study that that dog can be in the manipulating zone in the way that eating habit of the that particular dog can be changed in as per our requirement, but you can't change especially for the that lion. So the domestication of the certain animal comes in the easier side, and if you are trying to domesticate each and every organism, that could be the life risky for you. So this is the importance behind the biodiversity. We understand the evolution, we understand the resources, and at the same time, one more point that had been just enlightened, that is threatening. What is the environmental threat? Okay, and of course, I would like to mention very important point. Like in the biodiversity, we can relate with the climatic condition, and that can even just help us out in understanding the futuristic view. Futuristic view means, like, if I say in Delhi, you will be just looking at the the flood from the sea. So anybody will wonder how so possible, sir? Yeah, of course, this is your thorough study by the time that is helping you out. That is possible in Mumbai, but not in the Delhi. Why so? Because Mumbai is situated at the seashore, but Delhi is not. So this is the way the future can be predicted by the time. I hope everybody is clear about it. Now we are moving further. But if we just see the first line of the NCRT for the living world, the first line is right here. Biology, the definition of biology is being given in a beautiful manner. That biology is the study of is the study of living processes. Okay, living processes and and living forms or life forms, right? So one by one we shall discuss about it, that what do you mean by the living process and what do you mean by the life form, right? Let's start with the living process. But any process that do exist within the cell, that we simply call the metabolic activity. I hope the word will be familiar right from today now, right? The metabolic activity, or so called the metabolism. Dear student, this metabolism is having actually the two step. One, which is the constructive event that we call the anabolism. Okay. And the another word that is nothing but a catabolism. But if you focus about the word anabolism, that is simply the constructive event. What is that? constructive event in which the micromolecule are combining to form the macromolecule. But once you speak about a catabolism, that cata means the destructive, right? So that deals in the destructive event. And this event that takes that the macromolecule are just destructing to form the micromolecule. Like for an example, in the anabolic event, we can simply correlate with the process of the photosynthesis, right? Photosynthesis, as you know, in that particular event, the micromolecules such as the carbon dioxide and the water molecule will get associated in the presence of the solar radiation, in the presence of that chlorophyll pigment, and will come out with the formation of the organic matter. But once we talk about catabolism, the absolute mechanism of the cellular respiration, and mind it, very important point. When we speak about the term photosynthesis, that will of course in the plant and the certain microbes. But when we speak about cell respiration, just remind to your mind that I am mentioning here the cell. That could be of the plant, that could be of animal, and that could be of the animal as well. That could be of the microbes as well. So here is the what? Cellular respiration, simply an event in which an organic particular structure or the so-called molecule is being destructed in the form of the basic molecule, that is certainly the CO2 and the S2 again, along with the evolution of the energy. I hope this is clear to everyone. What do you mean by the living process? That is simply the metabolism. It involves the two events. One is the anabolism and another is the beta catabolism. Now, next we want to discuss about the life forms, right? Let's focus on. Here I'm writing the one word, that is life forms. What do you mean by the life forms? But as I told you, these life forms would be of three kinds. What kind are those? The first is the microbe, right? That are the small organisms. If we talk about another, that is none but the plants. And third, that we want to make and more emphasis in the zoologist today's session, that is animal. So one by one, I shall make you clear about it, right? Let's start with the microbe. If we talk about a microbe, the first microbe that comes in the mind of any of the student is a virus. But of course, I'm not going to start with the term virus. Why so, sir? Because I would like to pay your attention to that organism which is considered to be first existing over the earth crust, and that is none but the prions. What are these prions are, right? We are discussing about microbes. Let me clarify again. The prions are proteinaceous particle, and you will again just surprised to know that proteinaceous particle, and you will surprised to know that this is considered to be the first living molecule, but it's better to say the connecting link between the non-living and the living molecule. But at the same time, let me remind it, they are able enough to cause even the infection, and they do not have any nucleic acid by the time, because whatsoever in their structure is none but the protein only. So reason being, I had mentioned it, they are the proteinaceous particle. Now here we go further. I'm using the very important term, that is viroids. What this means, the viroids? Beta, this OID, whenever you find in any of the suffix, do understand it is a particular kind of the suffix that on and often comes by the time when we are talking about any primitive grade structure. I'll make a correlation in the further sessions, but again, at this point of juncture, just keep in the mind this particular thought of the moment. Viroids are RNA particle. And when I'm mentioning this point, one more question is very much clear, that RNA is that nucleic acid that came before even to the DNA. So the first nucleic acid came and reached over the earth crust was the RNA only. And do keep in your mind, viroids are the RNA particle. Here I'm using the very important term now, that is virusoids. What these are? Dear student, these are also the RNA particle only. And now the obvious question that is striking your mind, so what's the difference between the viroids and the virusoids? Just to make your mind more clear, I'm just here mentioning an important trick, that this S, though which is a part of the spelling of the virusoid, just keep in your mind that is in relation with the spherical. Why I'm using at this point? Because virusoids are ring shaped RNA particle. That is spherical shape, you can say it too. So I'm here mentioning especially that is ring shaped RNA particle are none but the virusoids. So here bit I am coming out with the fourth. What is that? The fourth microbe, that is nothing but virion. Now you will ask, what do you mean by virion, sir? Beta, that what you understand as a virus. Okay. And as all of us we know, that is a main concern about that we consider as a connecting link between non-living and living. Why so? I will tell you the feature of those one. And as everyone aware about, in this today's era, we especially being affected with that coronavirus. So of course, speaking with the virion or the so-called the virus is very important for the moment. So let me write it that virion or the virus are considered as a connecting link, connecting link between non-living and living. I hope the word is clear to everyone. Okay, beta, great. Let me write this point that virion is actually considered as a typical virus. Now the question automatically again is striking in your mind. So what do you mean by a typical virus? Let me clarify. Dear student, if I talk about a virus or virion, to better understand this particular word, we need to with the classification of the viruses. In the very basic background only I'm talking about, right? Just to make you familiar with the words. If you talk about a virus and virion, they're actually classified into two major categories. On the basis of nucleic acid, what do they have? Just keep in mind, the viruses which are having RNA as a nucleic acid material are called ribovira group. Ribovira, that simply means the viruses which are having RNA as their genetic material. And dear student, the viruses which are having DNA as a genetic material, of course, should consider as deoxy member of deoxyribovira. Is that done, beta? Okay. When we talk about a ribovira, they are further classified into the two subgroup. What are those one? The first that we call Cuba and the another that we call Helica. And that is absolutely based on the shape of the nucleic acid. Shape of nucleic acid. And let me remind it, here I'm talking about that RNA which is of the genetic nature, right? It is just not nucleic acid. It is a genetic nature that can transmit from one generation to another. And dear student, as you know, the Cuba, that shape is simply the cube shape, right? And here, if we talk about Helica, this is like the spindle shape. Now we talk about the deoxyribovira. The first word is clear to everyone that they do have the DNA as a genetic material. Dear student, the member of deoxyribovira are classified in the three particular subgroup. Like here we were talking the two, but here we are having three. What are those one? Two are exactly same. That is the Cuba and Helica. But if we talk about third, that is nothing but a binate. What does mean it? Cuba simply in relation with the cube shape, right? Helica, that simply mean the helical shape. And if you talk about binate, that is nothing but a clubbing of both the above structure. That head part is being created with the help of the Cuba, and then it is a helica. Okay, beta? Now we go further. Now we go further. Okay. If we want to make a correlation, what we studied just a moment back, I'm just making a quick review again. Beta, we were talking about a life form, different life form, which could be either microbe, plant, or animal. So if we talk about a microbe, we started up with the very first one that existed over the earth crust, is assumed to be that the prion, they are the proteinaceous particle. Then the viroid, they are the RNA particle. Then virusoid, they are again the RNA particle only. But at the same time, if you want to make the difference between the viroids and the virusoid, you have to keep in mind that virusoids are having this letter S that you can correlate as a trick that it started with the term spherical. So actual definition that comes by the time for the virusoid, that they are the RNA particle, but they are ring shape in a specific. If you talk about a virion, which is also called the viruses, they are the connecting link between the non-living and living. And let me remind that this question came in the previous year question of the NEET examination, that what do you mean by the virion? Virion simply mean the atypical virus. Is that done? Done, beta? Okay. Now we are moving further. We discussed then the classification of the virus in the brief only. That again is right in front of you on our screen. Now after virus, which is being considered as a another microbe, right? Let me mention this point that we are in the continuity of the different microbes only, right? But here I'm having the one word that we call the mycoplasma, right? What do you mean by the mycoplasma? But this mycoplasma is certainly that organism which is also called coatless bacteria, and that word simply signifies so many things. They are kind of the bacteria-like structure, but bacteria is considered to be the first cell of the plant kingdom because they have the cell wall. But once we speak about a mycoplasma, they do not have that cell wall, but rest of the feature are quite symbolic to the bacteria. So the reason being we come out with the word that is a coatless. Due to the absence of that particular cell wall, their shape is not fixed. So the reason being they are also called as a clown of plant kingdom, right? As you can see, the clown is always changing their facial shapes and all that, right? So in that consideration is being considered the clown of plant kingdom, right? Then another point, if we go with the another name of the mycoplasma, which is considered to be the smallest, let me write about it, smallest living organism. But do remind in your mind, if someone would ask you that which is the smallest organism, then the answer would be different. Here I'm mentioning especially the living. Why so? Because rest all in the this particular side what we discuss about, starting from prions, then viroids, then virusoids, then virion. These all four are actually connecting link between the non-living and living. But on and often the question usually comes only in the relation to the virion. So especially I had mentioned under this category. But let me remind it, this can be considered for all of these four. Right, beta? Now we talk about this mycoplasma. As I had mentioned it, that they are the smallest living organism being considered, right? And the one story is behind to the mycoplasma that I want to narrate for all of you people, because the further name for the mycoplasma is a PPLO. So what are the stories behind? Let me come on very first with the full form of the PPLO. Dear student, this PPLO is called pleuro pneumonia like organism. Now you can properly and simply observe what are the first letter of this particular full form, that is PPLO. That is something what I had mentioned it right over. So dear student, why it is being called the pleuropneumonia like organism? As you are everyone aware right from the very junior standard that when any person get affected with a pneumonia named disease, on and often we consider that we being affected with a pneumococcus bacteria. But though I would like to mention very important point in this zoology session that the person whoever affected with the pneumonia is not only the bacteria then can get affected, but though it can also get affected with the help of the virus, eventually with the bacteria that we discussed already, and also with the fungi, right? Do keep in your mind. I'll discuss about it. So the reason being in this today's session, I'm not just focusing to the zoology, but especially the integration of the point of the entire biology, which are usually comes in the terms of that examination. Because when we study, by the time we just segregate everything in the subject, topic, subtopic, and all that. But once you focus on NEET examination, dear student, in that 180 question of the NEET examination, of course, the 90 question comes from the biology. And why they are using the biology instead of the botany and the zoology? Because so many questions get integration knowledge of the botany and the zoology. So in a specific, I just want to give you a proper notion how do you need to understand by the time. Let me come on with the story behind giving the name of the pleuropneumonia like organism. You know, once you go to the any pathological laboratory and you get tested done with your blood sample or the urine sample or the fecal stool sample, so sometime you would have seen it, the term is right there, the microbes, right? So at the same time in the microbiological laboratory they have the one tool that they call bacterial filter. I'm using the word bacterial filter, right? What does mean the bacterial filter? But they actually use a particular piece of paper. And what is the utility of this particular paper? If they have a particular test tube and they have a solution within, and suppose they have this A and this B test tube, right? And now the solution of the test tube A is pouring over this particular piece of the filter paper, and out of through which now the solution will come over here. Now the any precipitate that is of the bigger size as per the sizes of the pores of this particular filter paper will get accumulate over the surface. So assume it, this is the bacterial filter paper. Once we are having any solution in which assume it, these are the bacteria, and of course, all the bacteria will come over the surface of this particular filter paper, right? That is the process. But what happened? A particular shape was there which was got affected with the mycoplasma by the time when the scientists were not knowing that it is infection by the mycoplasma. As per looking at the symptom of that shape, they were just thinking that might possibly that particular shape being affected with the pneumococcus bacteria. But what happened when they wanted to got a cross check? Pneumococcus bacteria, that is the one that is causing the pneumonia. But they were amazed when they had a blood sample of that ship and they used a bacterial filter paper which was of utility to get a precipitate of the pneumococcus bacteria right over the surface of this filter paper, so they can get the rest of the solution and they can get a proper analysis done of those pneumococcus bacteria. They wondered, they could not observe the pneumococcus bacteria what they were suspecting. But actually what happened in this situation, they came out with a new point of information that in the ship, a new organism is right here, which is leaking the cell wall, and that was observed in the test tube solution of the B, because they were earlier expecting that the pneumococcus bacteria will get over the surface of this filter paper, but they could not get it. So the point reason, this entire solution material when was poured, when which was having the sample of the mycoplasma, the mycoplasma observed in the test tube only. So that is very simple to understand that mycoplasma can pass through this bacterial filter paper. Okay, beta. And as you know, that pneumococcus bacteria is generally affecting to the lungs name organ, which is having the outer boundary that is a pleural membrane. Up now we can understand that this organism is not actually pneumococcus bacteria, but it is affecting to the pleural membrane of the lungs only. So they certainly made this comparison and came out this word that is a pleuropneumonia like organism. It is similar to that, but it's not exactly the same. I'm having another name for the same. Beta mycoplasma is also called MLOs. Now you will ask, what does mean that this MLOs? That simply means molecules like organism. Okay, beta. What does mean this molecules? I'm using the another color pen just to make a moment. It's a molly and then cute. Cute is the simply skin in relation, and molly that simply mean the soft. Since they are not having the cell wall, so their skin seems to be the soft. So reason being we called it as a molecules like organism. Sometime, as you know, the clown which is on and often in society being also called as a jokers. So here we are having another name that is the jokers of plant kingdom. I hope thoroughly you are being clear with the mycoplasma, right? And do reminding beta, it is a prokaryotic structure, right? Okay, done. And of course the unicellular one. So these are two feature points that had been clubbed together and again mentioning right over the board only. Now we are moving with the another microbe. After mycoplasma, of course, no need to say, I'm writing it here sixth, that is the bacteria. But bacteria, if we are just going with the broad level of classification, are again divided into two basic kingdom or so called two categories. The first is archaebacteria beta, and the second is eubacteria, of course. And do reminding that now on and often, as per the new taxonomists are concerned, even that mycoplasma is also being considered by the some author as a eubacteria, right? I will remind it later on. The firstly, we are just trying to get to familiar about these two terms, that is the archaebacteria and the eubacteria. But archae that simply mean the old, and bacteria you know already. But let me define much detail about the bacteria. Beta, this term bacteria, it was actually given by C.G. Ehrenberg. By whom? C.G. Ehrenberg. That is the name of the scientist that you need to keep in your mind. Termed by, right? Okay. If we go further, the term bacteria came from the term bacterion, and that simply means the rod shape. But I know You might be thinking that, sir, I have studied about so many different kinds of shape of the bacteria. Let me remind it. It was only name which was given on the raw shape earlier. Then later in the sequence, we got to know about the different shapes of the bacteria, including cocci, including vibrio, including stalked, including pleomorphic. Those are changing their shape too, right? I'm just giving the historical detail behind the word bacteria. Now let's speak about the archaebacteria. Since as the name suggesting, these are the older bacteria, and as per their mode of nutrition, what is the word? Mode of nutrition, because they are classified into three major groups: one, two, and three. I'm discussing one by one. Just make a focus over it. If you want to focus about the first word, what is that? These are thermo, thermo acidophils. Okay, done, beta. Now focus about what the word in relation. Thermo, that always means in relation with the heat. Okay, acid, that you know already. But if we talk about the thermoacidophils, beta, they are the organism that usually grow in a hot sulfur spring area, where due to presence of the H2SO4, that is sulfuric acid, they are considered to be the thermoacidophile, where the philes means simply the attraction. And I hope everybody understood that here the acid that actually in relation with the H2SO4. So since I have written right over here too, so I'm just taking it to here. And again, I just would like to mention one more name of the thermoacidophiles. What is that? Because this is also called sulfur bacteria. What we call? Sulfur bacteria. Okay, beta. Now we are going with another. Apart to it, we are also having methanophiles. What these are? These are simply called as a methane bacteria, beta. Methane bacteria. Okay, done, beta. Now the third is, what is that? Halophiles, and simply being called as a halobacteria. Why we are calling halo to them? Note that is not He double Lo. That is simply in relation with the halogen substance. This is what a halogen substance. Chlorine, bromine, iodine, that you know already. Is that okay? Done, everyone? I hope everybody got a view why we took this basis. That is the mode of nutrition. Here is the term methano. Here is the term halo. So we spoke about it. One more point I would like to mention it, beta. These two are anoxy. They are performing anoxy respiration. If you talk about thermoacidophils, this is the one. This is the one which is of oxy, so called aerobic respiration. Is that okay? Done. Now you know U means simply well. So these are the well bacteria, or I should call another word, that is the advanced bacteria. Is that okay? So let me discuss about that U bacteria, which are this category consist of. So first, if we talk about, that is none but the BGA. Can you get it, this word? I do one thing. I take a more and the just exhaustive discussion about the eubacteria in the next slide. Just look at over here. Here I am mentioning about eubacteria. I hope board is very much visible to everyone. You can see properly. This is the kind of the technique Narana is coming out, right? Throughout the country. So the student can get a just actual supplement of that offline classes to the online classes. Let me remind it. We are always considering that those offline classes are actually making on to the classroom student, but at the same time, these online classes also well enough to make them understand how we need to go to study in this pandemic zone, right? Just do focus about eubacteria now, beta. U, I told you, EU, that simply means the well or advanced. Okay, beta. And bacteria, that you know already. In this eubacteria, we usually just consider about the first that I'm talking about is a BGA. Can you tell me what these BG are? That simply means the blue green algae. Okay. Why so called blue green algae? Because it is finding of the some characteristic feature in relation to the algae only. And but the same organism is also called the cyanobacteria. I hope the word is clear to everyone. Done? Everyone? That is the BGA, that is the blue green algae or cyanobacteria, right? And the same organism being termed as a suffix to the algae and the bacteria. Why so being called? I hope it is clear to everyone. Is that done? Okay. Now we go further. I have another name. Anybody who have ever heard about Actinomycetes. What does mean it's a? But actino simply means the ray, and mycetes may have the fungi. They are the just a kind of the organism which are certainly being considered as the earlier organism, also called the primitive organism by the time. Done. So if you talk about these primitive organism, these actinomycetes, as you can see the name, are also called ray fungi. This being asked in the NEET examination. I hope everyone will familiar about the word now. The third, if you talk about that I earlier spoke, that mycoplasma, as per the many author, are considered in this zone only, that is of the eubacteria only. Now finally, the fourth one that I'm talking about, that is called Rickettsia. The term is Rickettsae, right? And don't forget to just make the proper comparison with that rickets. That is a disorder beta, right? In relation to vitamin D. No, I'm not talking about that. These are the kind of the such bacteria which are considered to be the primitive bacteria. So as per their structure within the bacteria are considered the advanced bacteria. I hope the word is clear to each and everyone by the time. Okay. One more question I do have. If I would ask you that BG or blue green alga or the cyanobacteria, do you have the another name for the same? I understood. Many of the people just trying to understand only, but again not recollecting such good information and recalling. Now I need to mention. These are also called Myxophyceae. What they are also called? Myxophyceae. I hope the word is clear to everyone. Now we are going further, beta. If I would like to re-mention the point we discussed, I hope Eubatia is clear to everyone. Why we were talking about Eubatia? That was under the category of the bacteria, and we were discussing under the category of the microbe. Because this is what the taxonomy is. It is always elaborative. It is always finding very systematic manner. Like I just would like to mention the very sum up again. Life forms we were talking about, microbes, plants, and animal. So I started up with the microbes only because microbes can cause the infection many of the time to the plants as well as the animal. So of course in this zoology session we would like to mention it very first how animals are being affected with the different microbes. You know, any animal including the human being can affect with the viral diseases such as the corona and many more, right? We are having the another name, that is the prions, viroids, virusoids are right in front of you as well. So the reason being I made the description of each and every word in that relation. So here we go. I discussed about the classification of the virus. I discussed about the different microbes in relation. So we spoke about the mycoplasma, the different name, and at the same time, the story behind the discovery of the mycoplasma. And the reason behind the giving the term, that is the PPLO, full form is a pleuro pneumonia like organism. Here we go further. The bacteria we discussed about archaebacteria. What does mean it? What kind of the archaebacteria are here? We spoke about eubacteria. Again, I hope the word is right clear in front of you too, right? I hope the everyone is familiar about. Now, after discussing about these all the particular microbes, we would like to go a brief discussion about the animal very first, right? Because there is a zoology session. So, if we go with animal in relation, I'm using the word classification of animals. Okay, beta. Now you would be asking, sir, which kingdom classification is in relation? I am not using about just a five kingdom. Rather, I am taking that classification that will give you the overview about animal protista in relation to, right? I am taking that animal protista as well, and I am taking the modern kingdom classification of the kingdom Animalia as per that five kingdom classification too. So I will mention each and every point so clearly in the particular flow chart that I am going to formulate for all of you people, beta. The classification of animal considering the two kingdom classification as well as three kingdom classification as well as four kingdom classification, and finally with the five kingdom classification as well. I am taking a typical one which could consist of the all the information which was given by different classification system. So I'm here using the protozoa. What the word is? Protozoa. And here I'm using the term metazoa. What does mean it, beta? Proto simply mean the primitive. Zoa simply mean the animal. So here is a very concerned relation. I'm speaking about the primitive animal. Done. They are grouped in Protista. So also called, also called animal protist. Okay. And as per that kingdom Protista, we named it this protozoa as phylum Protozoa, or some author says the class Protozoa, right? Here is the metazoan. What does mean it? Meta, that simply means the developed. Zoa means the animal, and here the word is automatically suggesting you that these are the group of the developed animal. But beta, these are again grouped into two category. The first that we call Parazoa, and another that we call Metazoa. But again, you will ask me, sorry, it is a metazoa and it is a metazoa. Yeah, one word is just different. That is, they are the eumetazoa, right? So these are the earlier one and these are the later one, and both are the metazoan. But this is called parazoan, this is called eumetazoa. That is a bit developed. Parazoa, what does mean it? Zoas, that simply mean the animal. Para, that simply mean in relation with the pores, or so I could call porous animal. And I hope you got a hint. I am speaking about phylum Porifera, right in relation. Phylum Porifera. Okay, beta? And that simply also called as a sponges. Okay? Do remind yourself that when you speak about a phylum Protozoa, they are eukaryotic and they are unicellular. But when we speak about the sponges, they are of course eukaryotic, but they are multicellular, right? So eventually, when we talk about this zone, I'm just taking another color pen to make a proper demarcation that these all the metazoan are actually considered as a kingdom Animalia as per five kingdom classification. Okay, and these protozoan are considered a class under kingdom Protista. I hope this word is very clear that I spoke earlier too, and I have re-mentioned it. So no confusion would be there, because once you go through any of the book, of course there are so many errors usually that comes across. So to get a proper clarity, I hope this word and this flowchart will help you out. Let me just go with the further elaboration of the eumetazoan. Because this eumetazoans, on the basis of the symmetry, they are furtherly divided into the two group. The first is we call radiata, and another that we call bilateria. Okay, that is in relation with the radial symmetry. Radial symmetry. Okay, and this is in relation with the bilateral symmetry. Okay, done, beta. Everyone, fine. Now, in today's session, we shall speak just now about the protozoans. Okay, so you can get a better detail. And in the further coming session, we shall again by the time we'll be discussing about a metazoan. So today I would like to discuss about a just a primitive animal, so you can get a more clarity about. Just see about it over here. Board is visible, everyone. Okay, done. So here we are using the term classification classification of protozoan, and I will give you the much more point that how to break the word. If you could recall the word master surgery technique I was speaking about, that is based on the etymology sign, that is the origin of the word. So each and every word what we discussed, if you have been seen minutely, I was giving the clarification and the origin detail of each and every word what we discussed by the time. So here is again the zoa that you understood, animal, and proto means primitive. Okay, beta. So here I am taking it the basis for this classification, that is locomotory organ, right? You know what is the locomotion? that is moving from one place to another. So as per that, the classification of protozoa, they are grouped into 4 subgroups. What are those one? Just go one by one now. The first beta, that is something is there, we call Sarcodina or Rhizopoda, or as per the NCERT is concerned, amoeboid type. Amoeboid type, right? And one example you can already understood with the help of this particular name. But let me go with the making the word surgery, right? That is a sarco. Sarco, that simply means the muscle. And now you would be wondering why the muscle in relation. I tell you. Just a moment. Rhizo, that you can understand about the root. Poda, that simply understood by everyone. That is a leg. Now everyone is just thinking, so why sir has been given the meaning of this sarco and the rhizo? I tell you. You might have heard about the adventitious root in the plant, in the botanical portion, and you have been studied about the muscle, which are the filamentous in shape, and the study of the muscle, even called the sarcology, you might have studied. So you get a point relation that these organisms are somewhat like the root, adventitious root like structure, or so called the muscle like the filamentous structure. So the reason this amoeboid type is also called rhizoid, rhizopoda, or so called the sarcodina as well. I hope everybody understood this particular point. Okay, beta. Now we go further. These, after this sarcodina, we have the another name, that is ciliata. What is that? Ciliata. Of course, the name is itself suggesting the locomotory organ here is a cilia that would have seen in the paramecium, which is also called the sleeper disc. Right? You have seen it. Now what happened when you see the this paramecium now? That is also called, I am writing it here, paramecium. But this is also called sleeper disc because it looks like the sleeper. And at the same time, it is also called ciliary feeder. Why so? Ciliary feeder. Like if I take myself as a just a paramecium, right? And just feel it, that's my fingers are suggesting to the cilia. So whatever the food particle that will come, it will trap it by the help of the cilia and it will engulf by the time. So the reason being it is called as a ciliary feeder. Now we go with the another one, that is flagellata. Of course, the name is suggesting that the locomotory organ here should be the flagella. And eventually it is also called the mastigophora. What is that? Mastigophora. Dear student, this flagellata or mastigophora is again subdivided into two subgroup, that is phytomastigophora, phytomastigophora, and lastly zoomastigophora. I hope the word is clear to everyone. These are the plant like mastigophora. These are the zoo like, that is animal like mastigophora. So reason being that was earlier confusion for these too many taxonomies, whether to keep the protozoans with the plant or with the animal. Few protozoans I am asking about. So better they kept into the that particular kingdom Protista. Why so? Because kingdom Protista, which was established by the Haeckel, just only with the point purpose that these are the group, these are the eukaryotic, and these are the unicellular. So better to keep them in a separate kingdom so we can properly study about them. And lastly, now I'm coming with the sporozoans. Sporozoans. ZOANS. Because this is the parasitic form, usually. Parasitic form. I hope you ever heard about the plasmodium. And eventually, these are lacking any locomotory organ. Locomotory organ. I hope every one out of you people enjoyed this session thoroughly, and the kind of the detail we had been just taken up in this particular session will definitely give you the insight how to properly study the zoology and especially the entire biology, I would say, right? It's just not to get to by heart only. You had to make the proper thorough, and I would say if you want to crack the just NEET examination, just a basic fundamental of last 18 experience of mine by teaching in the 9 states of India, I need to make the very important submission that you need to thoroughly study the NCERT, which page to page, line to line, word to word, heart to heart, and along with the very important point that I would like to mention it, if you want to crack a NEET examination, that the 4 letters are there, NEET, N that stands for the NCERT, E that stands for the exemplar of the NCERT. Then another E, that is the previous year question, that is the E examination of the previous year examination question. and T, that is nothing but the teacher's guidance. And in that kind of the mighty organization such as the Narayana with the 600 plus center, of course, we can help you out. That because every year throughout the country, spread across the 13 states of India and nourishing to the more than 4 lakh kids. This is the session that can enlighten your mind. And of course, I can tell you the throughout the journey of our upcoming 2 year, that is nearly 2 year, so called thus 730 days in total, but I'm taking this at 720 days in total. If you can see it in the NEET examination, there is the 180 question that comes by the time, and that 180 question multiplied with the 4, because every question get a 4 mark value there, so that comes with the 720 only. So every single day for any 11 student is having an opportunity to gain 1 mark. I hope so. If you just go through this way of the scientific methodology of the study, you can just fulfill your dream. Thank you. Thank you very much. This session is being
Thank
ended.
you. Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Good night.
Good night.